So this is actually a re-upload, okay? Because I had a like a video kind of episode of my Mad Fat Diary, but I had to delete it because I hated it. So that's the story. That's the story. I hated it, and now here we are. Now we're here talking about my Mad Fat Diary again. I'm talking about my Mad Fat Diary in 2025. I know that's right. We need more conversations about it. We need to talk about like, okay, maybe I want to start off by saying we can need to talk about what was what was the creators of My Fat Diary's reasoning for making Finn cheat? What was it? Tell me what it was right now. Because there was actually no need for it. And everything that I think loads of people who are fans of the show say universally, there was no need for it, basically, because it was so unlike him, first and foremost. But one thing I even touched on the other day was that I think what they were trying to do was that they just wanted to let us know there was going to be no longevity in Finn and Ray's relationship. Not really. Like, of course, they were good. Like, this is what I mean. When they were good, they were good. And when they were bad, they were bad. I think that's what they wanted to let us know. Like, I think it was a thing where, yes, they got on so well. We saw that, Ray and Finn's relationship the whole entire time. But like, obviously they got on well, but then there was obviously minor issues, right? There was Ray's insecurities. There was, I don't know, yeah, Ray's insecurities, Finn as a person, what else? I think there's mainly those two components actually. Mainly those two are the pushing thing, and I think it's the thing where they wanted to let us know that yeah, they wanted to let us know that a guy like Finn, like, we're like, of course a guy like Finn will cheat. I think that was basically the message, but I'm just like, why though? I think that's why university, everybody says that, yeah, season 3 doesn't exist. And rightly so, because obviously, yeah, and then even Finn having the cheek to be like, oh, can I have a kiss goodbye? We were like, what? A kiss goodbye? No, no, you cannot, because that was crazy. That was crazy. Your betrayal was crazy. And I don't even know. His betrayal was crazy. For one, because yes, that was Ray's friend. And it's like, you know what would have made that betrayal even worse? If it had been with somebody like Chloe, would have lost my whole head. Because this is the thing, remember, in the beginning, like Chloe and Ray were kind of like, I don't know, it felt like they were battling for Finn's affections in the beginning. So it makes you wonder, like, it would, like, exactly, if it had have been Chloe, oh, that would have been crazy. But I think in a way, I don't know. Okay, it would have hurt either way. But then I guess, in a way for me, I guess I think to myself, oh, that would have made for a better story just because we would have seen it heading in that direction. To do it with somebody who was a complete, like, oh, yes, Ray's friend, but she was also kind of like I don't know, like she was a random if you think about it. Like she was Ray's friend, but she also wasn't that like what do you call it? Detrimental to the story. She wasn't detrimental. So it was a bit very like obviously for one, it was out of character, which we all can agree on because even when I'm looking at this article, right? But yeah, right now that I just saw exactly yeah, so it was completely out of character. But two, we don't even know who that is. Like they should have had it. They should have had it. Yeah, if they wanted to, they could have had it just be any kind of like, like any kind of go off the street. Like if you wanted it to be like that or something, like not do it in that way. Yeah, because for me, yeah, okay, her name was Katie. I was just reading this thing that I just found on Google. I never knew her that name, and she doesn't feel like she ever made much of a, what do you call it? She didn't make much of an impact on me. That's why when I think about her, I'm like, I really don't like remember her, and this is what I mean. She was her friend. And then obviously she stabs her in the back. That's why they call it a betrayal, and it was betrayal on both parts. But it's like nobody knew her. Like nobody knew her. And it says, I think this person even said, I knew Kate wasn't to be trusted, and this has proved to be the case. And that was low. That was back in 2015. Someone wrote this. It was on film boards. And they said, Finn, what have you done? We said, honestly, that is what we all were saying back then. Crazy. In the time. We said, were you there? Because, were you there? because if you were, that was crazy. It was very insane. I just didn't, I never got it. And I don't know, like crazy. You know, when you think about when I was watching the show, obviously just in the beginning, yes, I thought they were going to be Endgame. I thought they were going to be Endgame. Is that crazy? No. Like, don't try to, this is what I mean. This is a show. I'm going to go to the show. Don't try to gaslight me. I thought they were going to be Endgame. What's the problem with that? You told me that they were, or you made it seem that way. So sorry for believing what you said. Sorry for believing what you said and what you showed me. My bad. I should have thought that they wouldn't end up together. I should have known. All right, that's the thing. I should have known they'd be doomed, but I didn't know. So yeah. Also, shout out to Nico, right? Ladies, shout out to Nico. He's so real. Because young me, he was able to charm me. Not even in the men. And I said, yeah, Nico's great. Nico's good. He came on the screen. Remember the first time Finn meets Ray? I mean, sorry. When I think about their first meet, actually, I think their first meet, he wasn't really nice to Ray. I remember, yeah, he wasn't really fussed about her. Do you see? Again, Ray and Finn are the epitome of enemies to lovers, right? And they did that. See, back in 2015, they started that. They are the pioneers. They started enemies to lovers, and they did it well. At first, when Ray came around, Finn was acting like, oh, I'm not really bothered about this girl, right? And then, because you know what Ray gives me? Sometimes she gives me like Daria vibes. I don't know why. People were like, oh, Daria is not cool. And then, you know, remember the thing that's been circling on TikTok? No, Daria is cool. And we're like, yeah, because Daria is cool. That's the matter. People will say she's not because she's a bit awkward and introverted. So what? She's cool. And that's the same thing with Ray. Like they brought Ray around, Chloe brought her into the group. Yeah, Chloe brought her into the group, and then they saw her and they were acting like, oh, Ray thinks she knows things, like she knows music and this and that. Like, first of all, I want to put this in actually. Yes, thank you to My Mad Fit Diary for helping my music taste. They actually helped my music taste to peak. And that's 2015. I mean, bro, you guys are gonna be like, how old were you in 2015? Bro, I can't remember. But obviously I was a young person, right? And I didn't know much about music. And My Mad Fit Diary helped me out. Like, Ray was a big Oasis fan. And then Ray helped me to become an Oasis fan also. Like, hello? I was like, she helped me to become an Oasis fan also. And there's so many, like, do you know what I mean? There's so many good songs in My Fat Diary. Especially even the intro. Yeah. I see the days coming, get sweeter every year. It's not gonna be too easy. Trust is for believers. So yes, exactly. That was great. But then, so obviously that's what I was saying about enemies to lovers. But you know, I also don't want to, in this episode, I don't want to talk about Ray and Finn the whole entire time, because I could do that. I could easily do that. But we're going to talk about everything else. Do you know what I mean? I want to talk about everything else. I want to talk about Ray, like just Ray alone, right? The forefront. She's the main character. We want to talk about her alone. Aside from talking about Finn, do you know what I mean? I never like it. Like, you know when you have a show and it's like, of course, a man is in the picture, but let's not talk too much about the man. Like, we also have to talk about Ray as a person, first and foremost. And that, you know, she's a person with or without Finn. But anyways, back to their storyline, right? This is what I mean. So enemies to lovers. And then Ray plays music. I swear she plays music in like the pub. And then they're like, oh my gosh, Ray, this song is so good. And they're like, Ray, you're so cool. And remember, they call Ray their glue. Ray's the glue of their group. We said, yeah. And then obviously Finn realizes, he's like, oh yeah, Ray's cool. Like, la la la. And then obviously he saves her. I swear, no, their first proper basic, like their proper interaction, I feel like, though, is when Finn saves her with those guys. I forgot what they were calling her. They were they were calling her some rude name, right? You know, this show, like, this is what I mean. I know this show very well, so it's like, yeah, but I can't remember what they were calling her. They were calling her some rude name. Yeah, so obviously just some kind of derogatory, rude fat phobic term. I feel like, I think I remember, but I can't remember what the term was. So they were doing that, yeah. And then Finn came out, I don't know, yeah, he came out of nowhere. It's giving Disney. He came out of nowhere. He was just there, and then he just punches the guys. He just punches them, and he's like, oh, Ray, are you all right? She's like, yeah. Like, she's like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you just punched those guys in front of us. How are you? How are you doing? And then that's basically where it starts. And then you've got, oh, Ray and Finn have so many good moments. My favorite, plus, I'm going to mention my favorite, when Finn hugs Ray when he hasn't got a top on, when I think he was playing football. And he's like, oh my gosh, Ray. And then he's like, hey, Ray. And then he runs to her and he hugs her. And we're like, wow. We're like, crazy. And even Ray was like, she stopped in her tracks and she was like, he's hugging me with no shirt on. Sick. And I think the fact of the matter why Mama Fire was so good is because, I don't know, a lot of us could relate to Ray. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's relatability. And I think that's always important, in any kind of show, basically. You need relatability. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you want to feel for the character. And do you know, like, when Finn hugged Ray, I was, I felt like I was in Ray's body. I was like, wow. Because I think the fact of the matter is that Ray is not seen as conventionally attractive, and that can be a thing that a lot of us as women feel like. Do you know what I mean? We're like, no one's really going to see us. No one's going to, see us as conventionally attractive. No one is going to pick us. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, obviously that's what I said earlier. That was the main thing of why lots of the conflicts were between Ray and Finn's relationship, because obviously she was just like, oh, remember, what's the quote? You're an 11 and I'm a 4? Or, bro, I think that's the quote. You're an 11 and I don't even remember if Ray says a number, but she's like, you're an 11 and then Finn's like, that what? He's like, that what? You don't get to tell me who I can and can't be with. Or you don't tell me who I can and can't fancy. That is mine. That belongs to me. No one, not even you. She's like, but why do you like me? Because I do. Sorry, guys. I just had my moment, my inner monologue. But like, honestly, I love that scene too. Like, honestly, this is me talking about my favorite scenes, right? I like that scene as well. So I talked about the shirtless scene. Then there's that one. That's number 2. I also like number 3. Look, it's like I'm doing a ranking list. But number 3, I like, what's the other one? Yeah, I like the football one. Sorry. Like, I think the one that I said about him hugging Ray with his top off, that's not the one. This is a different one. This is like he's got his football uniform on, right? And I think he just got injured. And then Ray's in there for like, what is it? She's like aiding him, like she's a nurse or something. And then they kiss and we're like, wow! It's giving like it's football. We said, yes, winners. We said winners. But yeah, that's basically that scene as well. And then if we say 4, bro, 4 is probably to be continued. Yeah. To be continued is great. Yeah, it's funny. If anyone hasn't seen My Perfect Diary before, you're like thinking, I mentioned all these seasons, you don't even know what I'm talking about. But you need to watch the show anyways. If you come this far, 14 minutes in, you need to watch My Mad Fat Diary. And that's why I said earlier already, if you weren't there, why weren't you there? You should have been there. It was such a cinematic time. And it's like I think of My Mad Fat Diary, I didn't watch it just once. I watched it like a few times. Even after I finished it, yeah. After I finished it, I watched it again. But then I know that, yeah, everyone always says this, but it's because obviously when I mentioned about the season 3 thing, it's hard because then you have to go through, yeah, the, you have to go through the trauma again. And it's just not nice. I'm just like, that's why, yes, if you are listening, basically stop at season 2. Just stop there. Don't go any further. It's fine. You can just stop there. And I think you can. Like, who says, like, honestly, who says you have to finish a full show? Who made that rule? You don't have to. I don't think you do. If you want to, go to season 2, just stop there, right? Just stop there. And I think it's like, yeah, if you like happy endings, if you like happy endings, stop there. Delude yourself. It's better. Like, for real. Like, honestly, I just think people will be like, oh, delusions aren't good, but delude yourself. It's better. It helps your peace of mind. It's very important and it's fundamental. Anyways, back to what I was saying about if I have any more favorite scenes from the top of my head. Honestly, what I said to you guys, I know this show's so good, like it's scripture, like it's in the Bible. So obviously I'm thinking to myself, do I have any more that I can really think of? Oh. Okay. I think, remember, what's that thing that Finn did before? Yes, the confession scene. So obviously he drew. It was like, yes, he drew. Oh, what was it? He did words on her back. And yeah, she could tell what they meant, but it was their way of communicating. It was their language. Wow. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry. Ray and Finn are so good. Like, that was their way of communicating. To be in relationships with me and have your way of communicating, oh my gosh. That's the bar. It's the bar. Like, it can't get any higher than that. It can't get any higher. It's there. I think afterwards, next place now we're going to touch on, yeah, is obviously Ray. Because yes, I've done my yapping off about Ray and Finn, and I'm telling you, I could talk about them this whole entire episode, but this isn't about them. I'm joking. It's about them, but it also isn't. We also have to talk about everybody else. That's right. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. I said I don't want to make them the centerpiece. Ray is also important as well. So we're going to move on and talk about Ray, and we're going to start off talking about, yeah, Ray is a character. I think we should obviously just start off basically from the beginning, but not like, oh, I'm gonna dive into the show, but we're just gonna talk about her fundamentally as a character. Ray as a character, fundamentally, we all see ourselves, or parts of ourselves of Ray in us. I think for me, one thing that I remember was like when Ray was having, it was like overeating, and she was overeating when sad. And that's something that, like, I think is common in, like, mental health issues in a way anyways. Like, to be candid, today was not that great for me. So it's like, talking about Ray is like, yes, I understand that, because I feel like mental health is one of those things, and mental health is done really well actually in this show. Like, that's what I will say. I feel like it's spoke about and touched on about when we explore it with Ray, and we explore it then again, this is what I mean. I've always thought about My Fat Diary. We don't just explore it with Ray, we explore it with a lot of the other characters too, like obviously Chloe, and Then you also have race fanatics. We see it in a lot of the characters. Actually, and basically probably even Archie as well. So yeah, we just see something that, like, yes, mental health is predominant, like generally in, yeah, like it's a thing that's common in most teens. That's not really like, if, hate to say it, yes, it's true. And I think they do touch on it well. Like, obviously you have Ray going to have therapy sessions with with Kester, and then you also see, you see her like really having really super low moments. I guess sometimes to do with like I think, remember what I was saying earlier was about sometimes they were to do with Finn, other times they're meant to do with her, like, you know what I mean? And I think that was obviously what I said the root issue of was of Ray and Finn's relationship, because obviously her mental health was obviously their biggest obstacle. Basically, it was their biggest obstacle and biggest downfall. If Finn had been with somebody, or well, no, not even to say somebody else, not even to anybody else, because this is the thing. I think this show does touch on like the fact that, like, exactly, appearance isn't everything. Like, that's another factor, of course, because obviously they want to tell us like, oh my gosh, like even what Ray quotes, in it, you should be going out with girls like Stacy. We're like, boring. No, like, and then so obviously even stuff like that, though, I think they touch on that as well, that appearance isn't everything. But what I mean is with her and Finn is that, like, he needed to date somebody obviously who more had their head screwed on, do you know what I mean? Obviously somebody who wouldn't be as insecure. And that's not even to say that, people with mental health or people with mental health issues can't have healthy relationships. But you do hear of when people are in mental health, I mean, when people have mental health issues and dating people, that, like, it can be a thing where it's like, where it's too much. I think that's why people always say, or there's the line, hurt people, and that you should obviously always, like, you want to, when you meet your soulmate, you want to be at your absolute best. You want to not be, you don't want to be in a place where you can hardly love yourself, because then you'll need somebody else to show you that love and able for you to show it to yourself. You wouldn't be able to say that you have that in you without the need of somebody else. Even though, that's what I mean, I think I already spoke about that, I guess, earlier in this. I said, like, it's like you want to be with someone because you want them, not because you need them. Do you know what I mean? The thing on the matter is that, but with that statement anyways, that's not even how Ray saw Finn. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like, oh my gosh, she needed Finn. It wasn't even like that. I think, like, well then, anyways, I feel like with Ray and Finn, actually, it was a bit of both. She obviously needed him and wanted him, but then when I say needed him, I think it's like she needed him in a in a lustful way, of course. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, when we was hearing Ray's, I don't know, her monologues, what's it called? In a monologue kind of thing. Like, when we were hearing that, it was basically her saying how I don't know, extraordinary Finn is. And then it would be like, she'd say how extraordinary Finn is, but she obviously wouldn't say anything about herself. So yeah, but what was also obviously, because I think, again, with the mental health factor, I think they showcased that really well, because obviously when Ray had all these issues, but when you saw her around her friends, like, it was like, do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, that she seemed to be fine. But that's the main thing, and I think obviously that you do need to show mental health in that way. Like, mental health is a topic that when it's touched, it needs to be, like, portrayed so well, because it's a fragile and sensitive topic. Obviously, like, you really have to make sure that you get it right. And obviously, we obviously need to know the signs of when people will think that mental health is completely I don't know, what's the word? Yeah, visible. I think it's visible all the time when that's not really the case. In most cases, it's extremely invisible. And I think obviously a great case of this anyways is Chloe, because Chloe was having a lot of issues in the show, and nobody could really see that because they weren't pulling back the layers of like who Chloe was. They basically saw her as, like, obviously we know when we see Chloe want to get in with the cool girls, they basically just saw her as that. Like, that was the exterior that they were looking at, but they weren't looking at the girl behind that. And that's the thing with how, you know, these things work, and with how, yeah, with this is what I mean with how mental health works. Because we'll look at someone and we'll think they're absolutely fine, but they're obviously not. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess Chloe is a perfect example of that. Not even to be like, oh my gosh, she's a perfect. Yeah, she's the perfect. But it's true because, of course, Chloe was somebody actually who you didn't expect to have a lot going on. But she did. Like, the fact of the matter is because, yes, they saw Ray, and like they knew Ray had issues. Like, they could see that. I don't know what else was it. I swear, did Ray have? Yeah, I think Ray had self-harming scars and all that stuff, so they could see that. And then she also used to have, like, I don't know, did she used to have like one of those thingy bob bracelets on, like the what's it called? The ones you can tell when somebody has been in treatment, I think. So she would even have that on, and it was a thing that, like, everybody knew that she was not doing well. But it was more like, oh my gosh, they were like, oh, Chloe's not doing well. We didn't even know. Do you know what I mean? That's the main thing. And yeah, exactly. And obviously back to Ray again, I mean, anyways, that's actually the subject we're on right now, is that her mental health was just like, yeah, it was a lot. But obviously we know that, yes, it also had stuff to do with Finn, but it also had to do with herself as well, because she didn't see herself. I mean, remember what I was saying actually about conventionally attractive? She didn't see herself as conventionally attractive, and she didn't think that anybody would like her. And then, oh my gosh, even if we don't leave out that guy, you know, the guy who Ray sees, I think, is it while she's broken up from Finn, or I don't even remember how that happened actually, but that guy that she sees, and I think actually, hold on. Oh, I think she meets him at this kind of circle thing or group session, basically. I think it was, because I think, remember, Kester was there, and it was a whole group session thing. So she meets that guy. Even though actually I want to check who that is. So Liam, remember, she meets Liam, and it's like, I don't even know, but it's like she saw herself in Liam. Like, of course, Finn was somebody who was a complete polar opposite to her, and that was the reason why, not even to say, oh my gosh, that's why they didn't work, because that's not the reason, but it's just like, I guess, polar opposites, do you know what I mean? It's a bit hard and they clash. And I just mean when somebody's like a completely different version of you, like Finn's the popular guy, I don't know, what else was it, he rides a motorcycle, all these sorts of things, right? Yeah, and he's like, I don't know, what's the word? Yeah, it's just like Ray gets the guy, and the guy that nobody thought that she would get, and the guy that nobody would put her with, basically. But then when you saw her and Liam, actually, it's the thing where that's somebody who, like, I don't know, like, obviously matched her energy, somebody who was also obviously, what was it? Yeah, he was also in because they met there, right? They were both having a difficult time, so they could both relate to that. You know, remembering his whole thing, like, I mean, her and Ray and Liam's whole thing is funny because I remember, then doesn't Ray have a fight with, like, I don't know. I thought it was like Liam's ex or something. But hey, this show is all over the place. Generally, even that's what I'm saying. Like, when I think about this show, I think, oh yeah, I straight off just think Ray and Finn. But there's so much stuff that happened in this show in general. Like, you also have, what's it called? You also have Archie's story, right? And that's very, very interesting. Him and Ray also have a great relationship because obviously she starts off liking him, but then obviously he is found to be gay, and then obviously her kind of, what's the word? Her I don't know, is it confessing? But her kind of, yes, coming to terms with that, then they blossom into a great friendship, and obviously he sees her as being able to go to, and yeah, so to go to, and I think obviously, remember, I'm sure Ray is the one that encourages Archie to come out to the group as well. Otherwise, I don't think he would have. He needed that push from her. And then that's also the whole thing of why Ray is the glue, because obviously that's also what Kestar, yeah, it's also what, oh no, yeah, Chop. Not Kestar. So that's what Chop obviously always remarked Ray to be, that Ray was the glue of their group, and without them she would fall apart, which we did see that she was a lot of the time. And I do really like characters like that, characters that yeah, they're not just a like a minor part in a group or in a machine, that how a group works, but they're actually like, do you know what I mean? They're like a really important cog that you can't take out, otherwise the whole thing will break out. Break apart, and that's what makes Ray so fundamental, and so necessary. Even that all the stuff, yeah, that Ray goes through in that entire show, one thing that remains is that is how she sees her friends. I know that people have always said, yeah, something that's always been a discourse in my Mad Fat Diary kind of, I guess, fandom. Like, the thing that people have said, and I think it's just a recurring theme, is that obviously Chloe was never a good friend to Ray, and that's completely obvious. But I've always seen it as that, like, Chloe was also going through things at the exact same time as her. And I also think that, like, Chloe and Ray, like, and I guess the kind of friendship they have is that Chloe was kind of, what's it called? She was jealous and envious of how great Ray was. And you could see that, like, from the jump. And of course, in friendships like that, that's why you can see it as, that's why you can see it as a toxic friendship, because, you know what I mean? If your friend is constantly digging you out in ways to belittle you and in ways to lift themselves up. That was the main thing of Chloe's thing. But then that's when I'm going back to the fact that Chloe, like, all these people were just saying they are not flawed characters. They all have flaws, right? So, and that's even, I guess that's even the message, right? We said Ray is at the forefront, she's at the center, but everybody else, they all have their own issues too. Do you understand? But bro, and then actually, let's not even go back to Katie. But if we say, oh, why did Katie cheat with? Why did Katie decide to cheat with Finn, which was somebody that I swear Ray told Katie that she liked, or that she had dated, sorry. I'm like, I don't understand that one. I can't wrap my head around that one, really. I said I would love to give you guys an explanation, but I don't have one. Like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say envy again, because this is the thing, like, even though Ray, even though Ray had a lot going on, there were a lot of people who were envious of her, 100%. Because she was just like, yeah, it's she, like what Chop said. She was the glue and she was the life of the party also. She made things better. Like, hello? And I think that's basically that was basically also probably Kay's thing. I don't know. That's again, she was threatened by Ray, and and I think basically, anyways, when people do that, sometimes that's what I believe, anyways. When people betray you, but in ways where, like, in ways like this, I meant of stealing your boyfriend, even though yeah, actually, I don't know. I can't remember actually if Ray and Finn were dating at the time, but I think that they were. But yeah, so if people friends want to steal your boyfriend, it's the way that they want to live your life, basically. That's all it's about. That's basically all it's about. They want to live your life, and so because they want to live your life, they go at different ways to steal your life. So first ways of, yes, taking your boyfriend and then going all the way around and I don't know, taking your friends, taking all the things that you hold dear, basically. But that's, that's extreme, innit? I guess because you guys are like, oh, yeah, that's like the boyfriend thing is a betrayal, but then I'm also like, betrayal grows. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's a one and done thing. Not that not that Katie did that in this, but I'm just saying, like, in real life, that's the thing. Like, I don't really think that betrayal just stops there. Like, someone stabbing you in the back and it's done. Like, it grows, because when you have friends who turn out to not be your friends, they were never your friends to begin with. Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't your friends to begin with, and they I think it's like they wanted you to figure that out, but then they kind of had to do something to let you know that they don't mess with you, basically. And I've just never understood people like that, because if you don't like me, you don't have to be fake about it. You can just say. So, like, honestly, so I've really honestly, yeah, exactly, I don't get the Katie thing. But then again, hold on a moment, I thought hold on a second. Checking about, yeah, because I thought that Katie, it says no, Katie is not Liam's ex in My Perfect Diary, and Katie is a character who's portrayed as a potential love interest for Liam's character, but they are not romantically involved in the past. Because that's what I mean. I thought it was to do with that, because I think I remember, like, this is what I mean. When I talk about these shows, I'm like, I need a rehasher, I need a refresher. I think I was rewatching My Perfect Diary. That's the funniest thing. I can't remember, but it's just like, I think I stopped because obviously the show just, yeah, it gets too much. As I said, I think I already mentioned, yeah, it's too much of a, like, I don't even know what the word is, but going through a maze, but I guess in a really good and bad way. Like, I meant because the maze probably have some lords in there, but then, like, it just takes you on a turn. And also, like, My Perfect Diary feels like, I don't know, like, because then there's My Perfect Diary and there's also like BoJack Horseman, and I'm just talking about them in terms of like their exploration of mental health. Do you know what I mean? Those two shows having mental health at their core. Do you know what I mean? And that's why those kind of shows, they're always hard to like re-fall into, or what's the word? to rewatch. It's me like what's it called? Like searching for the word. But yeah, I meant they're always hard to rewatch, or revisit. That's also the better word. But yeah, they're always hard to revisit, because it's like you have to feel all those feelings again, and all those low moments. Like, Ray had seriously low moments. Like, one that's always stayed with me, I guess, is I thought when I can't remember. Yeah, I guess I feel like she had so many what's it called, suicide attempts, basically. It was obviously like, I know that she had the one where she was on the road, I think. Yeah, she was on the road. Then she also had the one in the bar. And then, yeah, there's just so many. And these type of shows, like, yes, they can be very triggering. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. They can be very triggering, and then, do you know what I mean? I think obviously shows like this, like shows like that, now they always say in it, Yeah, like if my Matter of Fact Diary was made today, it would be a thing where they would obviously they would tell you, it would be a trigger warning for sure. And that's what today's shows, like, they do that. They basically say if you're going to watch further, then this is going to be in it, blah, 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 blah. Like, even, what's the another example also, because while we're talking about mental health stuff, 13 Reasons Why as well. So, I think when 13 Reasons Why was on, it had a thing in the corner, obviously, and it would be like, oh yeah, there's going to be themes of self-harm, suicide, death. Like, it was all in the corner. You guys all saw it. It was all there. It was all in the corner. Everything was listed there. So it was a thing where, yeah, they would highlight the trigger warning, and Mama Fat Diary would be one. Do you know what I mean? Because, of course, if you like, yeah, if any of you or like anyone like are, what's it called, yes, are feeling those feelings, it would be a show to steer clear from. But I'm glad anyway that I watched it when I watched it, because of course, yeah, I need an insight. Sometimes it's true that, like, yes, when you're a young person, there are some shows that necessarily you do need to watch. My Method Diary is one of them. Like, you know what I mean? You guys, for everything that I said, it's like, oh, that sounds a bit scary. But honestly, yes, although those stuff are, like, hard to confront, but they are realistic. And also, yes, it opens your eye into mental health in general. Like, this is what I mean. Like, obviously, what I was saying about mental health before, there's all these things about mental health, and then some of them are not even correct. Some of them are not even accurate. But yeah, but that basically how we even see Ray go through this whole thing. Like, mental health is a roller coaster. Basically, it's a roller coaster, and yeah, you either kind of like, yeah, you either kind of just get through it, or yeah, all the other stuff happens. But then I just think to myself, yeah, like Ray, like, do you know what I mean? The main thing was that I feel like what helped Ray a lot was obviously her friends, of course. That's what we saw. Like, basically it was her friends. Like, they really helped her a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially, even though people talk about her, and as I mentioned, her and Chloe relationship, Chloe and Ray did, like, you know what I mean? They did stick up for each other, and stick their neck out for each other. So, do you know what I mean? They really, tried her best. Like, even, because, even the scene where, what's it called? Where Ray's at that party for Chloe, but she doesn't want to be there. But that's the main thing. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, Ray was there for Chloe, and obviously she wanted to look out for Chloe, and remember, and then even when Chloe was with that horrible guy, yeah, even Chloe was with that horrible guy, Ray kept coming back there in order to save her, and she wanted to save Chloe from herself, basically. And obviously that's a mark of a great friendship. Anyways, putting yourself at risk. Not to say, that that you necessarily always should, but of course you will stick your neck out for your friend if necessary. Like, do you know what I mean? And if you feel like they can't get the courage to leave themselves, which was obviously what was happening to Chloe. Like, she was there. She was like, she kept saying to Ray that she was having a good time there. And she's like, Ray, go away. And it's like, no, actually, we won't go away because you're not doing all right. And then you're acting like you are, but you're obviously not. And then obviously it's like, yeah, Ray Hook got her out of there. And then she could go back home. And that's basically what needed to happen. But yeah, Yeah, I said yeah twice then. It might as well have that. It was like, yo, me, you know, the one on TikTok. But anyways, like, yeah, in conclusion, yeah, My Mad Diary is a great show. Um, like I mentioned, um, what's it called? I say to you guys, it's funny. I would be like, oh my gosh, watch My Mad Diary for Finn, but then I'm also like, no, don't do that. You know, like I hear you because nah, this is what I mean. I was gonna say, hold on. I was gonna retract and be like, yeah, I watched Mama Fat Diary for Finn. I didn't. What? I didn't. Like, obviously he was there. And like, yeah, he was there. He was great. But you know what? Do you know what? Yeah. Finn, yes, but also Watch It for Chloe, which is obviously Jodie Comer, and like Jodie in this, like, obviously I think to myself, yeah, My Infant Diary was the first time I ever saw Jodie in anything. So yeah, and what a time is that? You know, from obviously from since then, she's gone on to do Killing Eve, Villanelle, and she's also, and then also you can say that, what's the My Infant Diary actress called again? Guys, don't judge me. Hold on, wait, I'm gonna get it. But obviously, what I'm trying to say, anyways, is that she's obviously also gone on to do, what do you call it? Barbie, anyways. Yeah, Sharon Rooney. Sorry, that's so bad of me. I should have known that because their names always come up. Like, do you know what I mean? But then again, I haven't watched this show in like, I don't know, a year or so. So yeah, I haven't watched this in like a year or 2 years or so, but yeah. And it's funny because yeah, I was sometimes always thinking I wanted to rewatch, as I said previously, but I just, yeah, it's probably no. I will not be revisiting the show again. And obviously it's what I touched on in this whole thing. I will not be revisiting it because of yeah, because of Rain Finn, and two, because yeah, it's too much to bring up. Like, hello, it's still we said it's still heavy on my chest. Like, I don't want to. But yeah, and then okay, so I was gonna say Shara Rooney obviously went on to also do um yeah, Barbie. She was in Barbie, and that was great, and that was a lovely role for her. And I guess it was also a lovely role for her because yes, they put her in there as a way to, because actually not even to say it like that, because I know that it's like, yeah, but they wanted to put her in there for what's it called, like a positive thing. And then I guess people would have seen her in Barbie and been like, oh my gosh, that's Ray Earl from My Mad Fat Diary, and they want us to be like, you know what I mean, like people will say like how her character was, is that, I don't know, fat women shouldn't be on TV or something, something or the other, right? Something like that. But obviously that's basically even what the premise of Barbie is about. Or Barbie, anyway, as we know, is a feminist forward film anyways. Like, no matter what, you know, no matter what the men will say, that's what Barbie is. Because not even let me go start on Barbie, because not when that guy was like, oh, Barbie's just a film about a what's it called? A blonde doll with boobs. I was like, what? You obviously didn't watch the film. You didn't watch it. First of all, because I was like, when will I, you know what I mean? When was it that like they were trying to display Barbie to be some kind of bimbo dolly? I never saw that one time. I was thinking, yeah, I didn't watch the film that you were talking about when he said that. I was like, I didn't watch that film. It was I watched a complete different film to you. And that's crazy because, obviously it's the same one. It's the same one. It's not a different film, so I was really confused. But as I mean, yeah, is that I meant, yeah, Barbie's whole thing was to have a positive message on feminism, and then obviously that's why obviously Sharon Rooney would have got her role. And I guess no, that, and she's also a great actress. That's what I mean. I don't want to. I said let's not discredit that first and foremost. But obviously, as I'm saying, to put people in there who, yeah, oh, against the norms, like people who are not, people would say not deemed as conventionally attractive, whatever. We said, every time I say that term, I'm like, what does that even mean? What does it even mean, honestly? Because aren't we all just living on a, aren't we all just living on a, what's it called? On a moving planet? Or what do they say? On a round planet. Yeah, that whole debate of whether the Earth is round or flat. But yeah, a round revolving planet. And then you want to tell me that there's all these standards. That's so strange. But yeah, as I said, you should watch the show. And even remember when I mentioned Archie for a little bit as well. That's also good too because obviously it touches on yeah, the LGBTQ community, and do you know what I mean? And that's what we like. That's what we like to see. Yeah, that's what we like to see. We need more of that. Basically, I don't think they really touch on like. I want to say like, yeah, there's only lesbians in My Mouth Type, but I don't think so. Not that's a bad thing. Not that's a bad thing. But I'm just saying, I don't think so. But any other than that though, like everyone's done well from this show. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of the. It's weird, like when I was just obviously mentioning Sharon and I was mentioning Jodie, I haven't seen much of anybody else like Dan or Ciara or actually I was gonna say Nico, but Nico's in things, guys. He's about I think what was that thing that he was in the other day? He was in some BBC program, I thought. Yeah, Penance or oh, so he's in something called Stags. But I know that he was in something he was on something on BBC. What that was I can't remember. But yeah, he was in something in BBC. Don't worry. You guys can check anyways. Right? Okay, sorry. He was also in Our Girl as well. So that's probably one of the ones that you guys can take with you. Like, I know that he was in Our Girl, and Our Girl's popular. So that's why I mentioned that one. Because obviously that one has, that actress that everybody knows. I forgot her name. Again, I forgot her name. But yeah, so she's in that. So yeah, and of course, yeah, they put Finn in his bio because of course, I don't think you could mention him without like you know what I mean. I don't think you could mention him without mentioning Finn. And the thing is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Finn, he's the real like yeah, he's the OG, but you know what I mean. Like the OG girl crush, you get it? Like this is what I'm saying. I said it here, like said it here first. But actually I probably didn't say it here first. It's an actually known fact. Like, when people have that whole thing about hear me out and you're like, no, it's not even a hear me out, it's a hold me back. I said you guys are so weird. Everyone messes up that whole discourse of hear me out. They'll be saying such weird names for people who are perfectly attractive. I said, do you guys not know how this game works? Crazy. Like if anyone was to ever say Nico is a hear me out, I'd be like, you guys are crazy. He's not. Like, yeah, he's a hold me back. And yeah, he just wouldn't be on that list. First and foremost, he wouldn't be on there. For obvious reasons. Like, honestly, how crazy is it that he's just the thing that everyone talks about in the show? And it's crazy. And I think for me, I always hate it sometimes, obviously, when a show or anything remotely revolves around a man for too long, because we don't want you taking up too much of the plot. You can be involved, but don't take the entire cake. You know what I mean? Everyone gets a slice. Do you know what I mean? That's how it works. So it's like, yeah, like Finn Nelson's great, but Hello. We said, let's talk about Ray, of course. But yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. And watch My Mad Fat Diary. And obviously, heed my advice on the trigger warnings. And I hope that if you do watch it, you are taking care of yourself and doing what's best for you. Also, follow the Spotify and also subscribe to the YouTube channel because the podcast episodes go there as well. But they also obviously go onto Spotify also. But it's all three. It's Substack, Spotify, and YouTube, and other, I believe. And other, I believe. I say like I'm not the owner or the creator. But anyway, that's enough waffling for today. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next one.